guys, it's Gretchen and welcome back to my channel. So I am very excited for today's video because I get to talk all about one of my favorite types of jewelry. And no, I'm not actually talking about titanium this time. Instead, for this video, I want to discuss why threadless jewelry is a great option for any person. I get asked every so often like what my thoughts are on threadless jewelry, if I have any threadless jewelry, would I recommend threadless jewelry? So then I thought, why not make an entire video dedicated to threadless jewelry? I can touch on what it is, why it's so popular, how to use it, and all the things that surround body jewelry. So to answer those questions, do I use threadless jewelry? Every single piece of jewelry that I have in is threadless. Do I like threadless jewelry? Obviously I do, otherwise I would not use it. Would I recommend it? Absolutely. And I'm gonna get into why. So, what exactly is threadless jewelry? So threadless jewelry is made up of two components, much like most body jewelry. It has a post or a lambré, and then it has a decorative piece. So the back ends for the lambré are either flat backs or they have a barbell, like the little ball on the backside. Most of mine are flat backs. That's just what I prefer. However, I do have some that have the ball on the back. The only ones that I have that are like that are in my second and third lobes. They have the little ball on the back. They're really long. I should not have gotten posts this long, but whatever, it's fine. So those are the only ones that I have balls on the back. The rest are all flat backs. And when it comes to threadless jewelry, these are pretty much your only options. Threadless jewelry does come in a variety of different metals. Me, all of mine are titanium. It's what I prefer. Not everyone likes titanium or wants to spend the pretty penny that titanium usually is. So it does come in things such as sterling silver, surgical steel, gold, pretty much anything you can think of. It also does come in a variety of styles. So it's not just like the straight lambré post. You can also get curved barbells. My rook is threadless jewelry, but obviously it is not a straight lambré post. It is a curved barbell. So it does come in more than just the standard lambré post. Threadless jewelry is also pretty easy to wear and care for, though I have heard a lot of complaints about it, and hopefully once I get to the part about how to like use it appropriately, hopefully that'll alleviate some problems. So why exactly is threadless jewelry a good option? Other than the things that I've already listed, why do people like it so much? For a lot of people, it is the convenience of it because all of the decorative pieces fit all of the posts. So you're sitting there only having to buy one post and you can swap out all the decorative pieces you want. So you're not having to buy a brand new, like entire set of jewelry. You just need to buy the top piece. Piercings with threadless jewelry tend to heal better and faster as well. And the main reason for that is because you're not changing out the entire piece before it's time. If you want to change something out, you just change out the top part and that's it. So you're not pulling the whole piece through the piercing. Instead, you're leaving the post in and just changing the decorative piece. So even if you're past that point of like, oh, I should be able to change jewelry by now, you don't necessarily have to change everything. You can just change the top part. Unless you're changing it to a hoop, then you kind of have to change the whole thing out. Like I mentioned, you really only need to have one post because any top piece will fit it. Now, sometimes when you get to larger gauge sizes, you do end up having to buy a different post just because the smaller sizes may not be able to match up with the larger ones. But for the most part, you know, you have your 20, 18, 16, 14, all of that is pretty interchangeable, and it doesn't necessarily matter the gauge at those sizes. The decorative pieces will all fit. This type of jewelry also does well in pretty much any piercing. So my nostril piercings, my lip piercings, pretty much everything other than my daith, doff, and my septum are all threadless jewelry. So I could take what is in my nostril and put it in my tragus if I wanted to. Obviously clean it first because it's a little weird and a little gross, but I could do that. If I wanted to swap out the moonstone in my philtrum and plop it into my conch piercing, I could do that. So it's the convenience of being able to just kind of change things around because all of the decorative pieces fit all of the posts. And another reason why people like threadless jewelry so much, especially myself, if it is put together correctly, there's less chance of it falling out. Now, I will get into how to actually correctly insert threadless jewelry because some people do have problems with that, but you will find because of how the threadless jewelry works internally that your jewelry is not falling out as often because there's no way for it to unscrew necessarily. That was always a problem that I had with either externally threaded or internally threaded jewelry, is that it would somehow just unscrew itself, like whether it's just from regular movement, you know, if I slept on that side, maybe just moving it would unscrew it a little bit and then it would fall out. You don't really come across that problem with threadless jewelry. You can if it is not inserted correctly, however, such as there was one time where my threadless jewelry wasn't tight enough and my hair got wrapped around it, and when I went like this to brush my hair out of the way, it did end up pulling it out because it wasn't tight enough. So like with any jewelry, you still need to be careful, but there's not that constant need to be like, oh my God, is it still there? I do recommend you check your jewelry every so often. I always check mine at least twice a week, like fully, just to make sure everything is still there. But with threadless jewelry, you don't have to worry about that as much as you do with other types. So how exactly does threadless jewelry work? Because like when you look at the jewelry, it's just a post and then it's this decorative piece with this really tiny metal straight component attached to it. You're sitting there going like, how does this work? How does this not fall out? And it's because you do have to do a little bit of work in order to get it to work. So basically what you do is you take the libre, you take the little post, you take your decorative piece, you insert it about halfway. So you're not putting the post of the decorative piece all the way into the libre. You're putting it about halfway. And at that point, you're gonna bend it within the jewelry. Now, the more bend to the little post on the decorative piece, the tighter the fit. However, you do need to be careful because these decorative posts are very tiny and they're very fragile. So even though bending it's not gonna harm it, if you put too much force behind it, it could break it. Once you have given it enough bend, you just push it through and that's it. And you'll notice that it has a snug fit. You'll be able to easily pull it apart, but it's not gonna just fall out on its own. So how does threadless jewelry actually work? Threadless acts like a spring-like action within the post. So the bent post on the decorative piece essentially straightens out when it's inside the libre, but it's like at a curve, so it's pushing up against the side, so then that way it gives that secure fit. And then to remove it, you just pull it apart. A lot of people say that they have difficulty with this. I personally have never had difficulty removing the decorative piece from the libre, but if you end up having some difficulty, I always recommend keeping gloves on hand, like latex gloves, or if you're allergic to latex gloves, any alternative. I always keep it on hand just because whenever I dye my hair, I have to have gloves, but it really does help with changing out piercings, like removing jewelry, putting jewelry in, kind of gives that extra little grip. So if you do find yourself struggling, I always recommend just keeping a box of gloves on hand just for that extra grip so that you can pull it. If you do experience a little bit of difficulty, when you're pulling it out, give it a little bit of a twist while you're pulling, not just like twist it while it's in there and then pull, but while you're pulling, twist it a little bit. If you need to adjust the fit at all, you definitely can. Again though, be careful because it is a little bit thinner and if you put too much force behind it, it could break. To adjust the fit at all, you just do the same steps again. So you put the little decorative piece about halfway into the libre. For a tighter fit, you bend it a little bit more. For a looser fit, you unbend it a little more. Do any of these adjustments within the libre post, not just like on its own. Don't like have the little piece by itself and then try and bend it on your own. Definitely have the libre post, put it in halfway and try to adjust it within there. So that is just a little bit of information about threadless jewelry, why people like it so much, what exactly is it, how to appropriately use it. I get questions all the time asking me, you know, whether I like it or not. And then when I do say I like it, you know, do I use it? The answer is yes. All of my jewelry, except for my date, duff, and my septum are threadless. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts on threadless jewelry are. Do you use it yourself? Are you not a fan of it? Have you had bad experiences with it? Good experiences with it? Drop it all in the comments below. Because again, we all have different opinions on body jewelry, especially things that we like ourselves. I always talk about how much I love titanium and now threadless jewelry. That's not for everyone. So just leave your thoughts and opinions below. Special thank you to my patrons. You can help support the channel on Patreon while having access to videos early, viewing patron-only content, and more. But that is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a big ol' thumbs up. Go down there and hit that subscribe button, wherever it may be, because I don't know, even though I do. This is just my shtick now. Also hit that notification bell in case you want to know when I upload, and in case YouTube wants to let you know when I upload, because I would really appreciate it. And until next time, bye guys!